They were never kings, never warriors. They didn't conquer empires or lead armies, but they changed everything. Long before modern science, democracy, or even the idea of human rights, there were minds who dared to question everything, in dusty rooms, candlelit studies, and forgotten libraries. Today we remember the names of rulers, but the ones who built the modern world are the ones history forgot. 1. The invisible foundations. Every civilization stands upon an invisible foundation, not of stone, but of ideas. Yet those foundations rarely bear the names of the ones who built them. When we talk about the modern world, we think of steam engines, skyscrapers, and satellites. But behind each invention, there was a thinker, an unseen mind who dared to imagine that the world could be different. The Age of Enlightenment is often credited to a handful of great names: Newton, Voltaire, Rousseau. But beyond them were hundreds of thinkers whose words shaped revolutions of reason, science, and morality, only to be erased by time. They were women and men working in silence, sometimes ridiculed, sometimes punished, but their influence rippled through centuries. And though we may not speak their names today, their thoughts live in everything we touch. 2. The fire of inquiry. In the 12th century, a man named Ibn al-Haytham sat under the dim light of an oil lamp in Basra, studying how light moves. He believed that truth could only be found through observation, not authority. At a time when questioning dogma could mean death, he proposed a radical idea: that the universe could be understood through experiments. He laid the groundwork for what we now call the scientific method. Centuries later, Roger Bacon, a monk in England, would echo the same principle, that knowledge must be tested, not merely accepted. He too was silenced by the church. These thinkers weren't rebels for rebellion's sake. They were builders, laying bricks of reason in a world still ruled by fear. Their courage sparked a chain reaction, from Galileo's telescope to Newton's laws, to every engineer and scientist who ever asked, why? 3. The architects of conscience. If science built the machines, philosophy built the conscience to use them. In a forgotten German village, Immanuel Kant sat quietly writing words that would shake the moral foundations of Europe. Act only according to that maxim whereby you can, at the same time, will that it should become a universal law. His was not the voice of politics or religion, but of pure reason. He gave the world a new way to think about ethics, not as divine command, but as a moral law within every person. And then came Mary Wollstonecraft, a woman centuries ahead of her time, who declared that reason belongs to all, not just to men. Her writings inspired a revolution of minds long before feminism had a name. The modern ideals of equality, human dignity, and moral freedom were not born in parliaments. They were born in essays, written by hands trembling with conviction. These thinkers didn't rule nations, they ruled the future. 4. The economy of ideas. While philosophers questioned morality, others questioned value. The thinkers who shaped our economies were not merchants but dreamers. Adam Smith, often remembered as the father of capitalism, spoke not of greed, but of moral sympathy. He believed the invisible hand that guides markets must also be guided by conscience. But others, like Jean-Baptiste Colbert, the economic architect of France, and Friedrich List, who envisioned national economies built on education and infrastructure, believed that wealth should serve society, not dominate it. Their ideas were often buried beneath politics and power struggles, yet they built the frameworks of trade, banking, and international cooperation we depend on today. They turned survival into systems, and from those systems, the modern world emerged. 5. The women history erased. In the story of progress, there were countless voices silenced, especially women. Hypatia of Alexandria, one of the last great philosophers of the ancient world, was murdered for teaching that reason mattered more than faith. Her work on mathematics and astronomy vanished for centuries. Émilie du Châtelet, translating and expanding Newton's Principia, brought physics into the Enlightenment. Without her, Voltaire's brilliance would have been incomplete. And Ada Lovelace, who imagined the first computer algorithm in the 1800s, foresaw a digital revolution in an age still lit by gas lamps. Each of them lived in worlds that denied them recognition. Yet their thoughts became the seeds of modern science, technology, and equality. Their brilliance was forgotten not because it was small, but because the world wasn't ready to see it. 6. The shadow thinkers. Some thinkers were not merely forgotten, they were erased. The radical Enlightenment philosopher Spinoza was exiled for challenging the idea of divine authority. His belief that God and nature were one, that everything was connected, laid the groundwork for modern secularism and the scientific worldview. Denis Diderot, the editor of the Encyclopédie, risked imprisonment to spread knowledge freely, believing that information should belong to everyone, not the few. The church called it dangerous. He called it progress. And then there were the underground minds, the anonymous pamphleteers, the translators, the teachers in secret rooms, whose names never reached the page but whose ideas ignited revolutions. They are the reason we can speak, read, and think freely today. 7. The unseen network. Every forgotten thinker is a link in a chain that runs from ancient Greece to modern science, from mysticism to mathematics, from forbidden books to open knowledge. The modern world wasn't built by geniuses working in isolation. It was built by networks, invisible webs of curiosity, courage, and communication. The 17th century scientist corresponded with philosophers. The poet exchanged letters with mathematicians. They shared not power, but questions. They didn't seek fame or reward. They sought truth. And that quiet pursuit, not conquest, not profit, became the engine of civilization. 8. The price of forgetting. But forgetting comes at a cost. When we forget the thinkers who built our world, we begin to forget the very foundations that hold it together. We start to believe that technology alone makes us modern, that progress is automatic, that wisdom is outdated. But every generation must rebuild its relationship with truth, reason, and wonder, or risk losing it. We live in an age of information unlike any before, yet surrounded by knowledge, we are starving for wisdom. And perhaps it's because we've stopped asking where our ideas come from. The thinkers we forgot once warned us. When truth becomes convenience and curiosity becomes noise, decline begins. 9. The legacy of memory. Remembering them is not nostalgia, it's survival. The modern world, our sciences, our democracies, our freedoms, rests on ideas born in silence, preserved in secret, and carried forward by courage. When you open a book, question a law, or stand for truth, you walk the same path they did. You become part of the lineage that built the world from thought alone. So the next time history tells you who the great men were, look between the lines. Listen for the quiet voices, because there, hidden in the margins, are the true architects of the modern age. If you found this exploration insightful, give this video a like, share it with a friend, and subscribe to Timeless Questions channel for more deep dives into philosophy, history, and human nature. Because the questions may be ancient, but the wisdom is timeless.